Dear learners on the platform of MOOCs, I'm Professor Nafis Ahmed Ansari from Department of Political Science of Aligarh Muslim University. Now, in continuity with the bureaucracy, today we'll try to find out what are the types of the bureaucracy. When it comes to groups or governments, bureaucracy refers to a structured system that has well-defined rules and procedures for carrying out tasks. A comprehensive of the bureaucracy operates according to the chain of commands, and in which higher ups delegate authority to lower level employees in an effort to achieve duties and decision making that are both efficient and well organized. Max Weber, I told you, the person who have worked very hard to give a clear picture of bureaucracy. He said that a well-known conduct that or research that we understand in the bureaucracy and try to highlight the characteristics. It is the division of labor, the strict adherence to rules, the lack of human interactions, and the selection of employees based on their talent and qualifications. This is was the specific characteristics been identified by Weber, which has worked very hard to trace the reality behind the bureaucracy. The management of work and decision making inside business or governments is the purpose of the bureaucracy, which is a structured system, clearly defined hierarchies, detailed rules and procedures, clearly defines responsibilities, and standardized procedures are all components of this system. Through the assignment of duties, responsibilities, and authorities in an hierarchical order, the objective is to achieve efficiency and organization and the control over variety of processes. The bureaucracy is a system that consists of establishment of rules and guidelines as well as the possibility of penalization for those who disobey these rules and norms. So there is an establishment of rules and guidelines, and there is also in bureaucracy that if the civil servants is not obeying or following the rules and guidelines, then there is a possibility of punishment to them. This is a common practice for individuals that need to be handled in a formal manner. In addition to this, it can assist in preventing misunderstandings between the various departments and simplifying the work of superiors. Hierarchical bureaucracy and a professional bureaucracy are the two distinct types of bureaucracy that exist in the system. The progression of the people through the ranks is the prime objective of a hierarchy bureaucracy. The efficiency and which personnel carry out their responsibilities is the primary focus of professional bureaucracy. The development of bureaucracy is concerned. Bureaucracy can be traced back to ancient civilizations such as Egypt, Mesopotamia, and China, when organized administrative structures were developed to manage state affairs. This is where the history of bureaucracy actually began. The idea, on the other hand, to rose a prominence during the 19th century and 20th century. The concept of bureaucracy has got its height. Ancient civilizations, when we say the first bureaucratic institutions emerged in ancient civilizations to manage complicated activities such as the collecting of taxes, the creation of infrastructure, and the maintenance of records. For example, the ancient Egyptian government relied on subscribes to keep records of administrative transactions, while the Chinese imperial bureaucracy were well known for its well organized structure. The hierarchical system that ruled feudal societies in medieval Europe were characterized by the fact that the lords were in charge of the management of estates, while clerks or the bureaucrats were responsible for recording transactions and managing local affairs. On the other hand, the comparison to contemporary bureaucracies, these systems were simpler and less codified. In the later half of the 19th century and early 20th century, Max Weber was the one who presented the idea that would later become known as the modern bureaucratic model. Bureaucracy, according to Weber's definition, is a system that is founded on rational legal authority and is characterized by hierarchical levels, definite roles, division of labor, written regulations, and impersonal connections. The Industrial Revolution and the expansion of government, these are the area which is to be taken into consideration when we try to discuss about the type of bureaucracy. The Industrial Revolutions requires more complicated hierarchical structures for the administration of government. The expansion of governments to handle social and economic development led to the establishment of bureaucratic agencies that were responsible for a variety of responsibilities, including taxes, public service monitoring, and regulatory control. The modern bureaucracy is characterized by its ever evolving and expanding structure, which has is enabled to effectively manage societies that are becoming increasingly complex and to solve wide range of difficulties. Nevertheless, criticism of bureaucracy frequently center on the problems such as excessive red tape, inefficiency, and rigidity, which has resulted in a continual efforts to reform and enhance bureaucratic administrative structures. As far as the types of bureaucracy is concerned, the first we can say that governmental bureaucracy, due to the fact that they rely on eligible applicants who have been pre-screened, public bureaucracies are able to have a more varied membership when compared to working with a private bureaucracy. There is a possibility that working with a public bureaucracy will require more time and resources to handle. Additionally, public bureaucrats have access to information that is not publicly available in a private settings. In spite of the fact that working in a public bureaucracy comes with a multitudes of advantages, there are still individuals who favor private for the requirements of their organizations. This is due to the fact that their primary concern is the happiness of their members and the maintenance of confidentiality. Bureaucracy that is a private, when we say, one can think of the private bureaucracy as a tool, instrument, or machine that performs distinct and different purposes. One of the most effective ways to explain the difference between public and private bureaucracy, when we compare to a public bureaucracy, a private bureaucracy is believed to be a private bureaucracy. On the other hand, a public bureaucracy is a public in nature. Forms of the bureaucracy that are hybrid or mixed. In spite of the fact that bureaucracies are difficult to comprehend in their whole, they can be differentiated into three primary groups: the formal and the informal bureaucracy, the rigid and the flexible bureaucracy, and the simple and the complex bureaucracy are the categories that fall under this category. Formal and informal bureaucracies are distinguished by the presence of robust bureaucratic institutions and norms that are established by the government, its officials, or other persons in positions of authority to regulate the behavior of members of the organization. In comparison to flexible bureaucracies, they are more stringent, but they are not stringent as a rigid bureaucracies. Furthermore, according to Austin Marx, there are four distinct types of the bureaucracy. Environment elements such as social and cultural pressures as well as economic and political considerations all contribute to the formations of bureaucracy. The bureaucracy in high verb has appeared in a variety of shapes and forms over the course of history, depending on the socio-political influences that have been present at various moments in time. In a general sense, modern Marx divides bureaucracy into four distinct types: the guardian bureaucracy, the caste bureaucracy, the patronage bureaucracy, and the merit bureaucracy, to name as few. Now, let us try to understand what these four types of the bureaucracy is understood to be. The guardian bureaucracy, when we say Plato's concept of the truth seeking king, is an example of the guardian bureaucracy in action. It has been believed that they were the guardians of the community, welfare, and justice. The term a socialistic officialdom educated in the right habits in accordance with the classics is another way to characterize this type of institutions. It has been anticipated that this guardian would cultivate a moral fortitude, and it was also anticipated that they would be able to exercise an influence on the problem of exerting authority in a way that is virtuous. The occurred in Persian with between year 1640 and 1740 AD. They are also liable to become distinct from the concerns of society and political problems of the day. They become dictatorial and unresponsive to the public opinion. The guardian bureaucracy has a tendency to idealize absolute procedures, which causes them to fall into category of traditionalists and conservatives. Caste bureaucracy. In most cases, oligarchical political systems are the ones that reveal the existence of caste authorities. When this system is in place, the only people who are eligible to become public officials are those who belong to higher caste. Brahmins and Kshatriyas, for instance, should be the only ones to rise to position of authority in Indian historical realms. Consider the caste of England, where members of aristocratic classes were given the preference for the positions of the civil career. Some example of the caste bureaucracy include the civil servant that existed during the early years of Roman Empire and the Japanese civil offerings that were in the place during the 1950s. Next type is the patronage bureaucracy. There is another term of this category forms which is also known as the spoil system. As a result of this structure, the portraits of the politician forms are in a charge of making nominations to the civil services. It is possible that the public employment are given to their followers as a kind of personal or political favoritism. The United States of America has traditionally been a domestic of the political, or we say the spoil system, despite the fact that the patronage was the dominant form of government in United Kingdom up till until the middle of 19th century. According to the spoil system in United States of America, every administration is required to pay a charge to rent and provide housing and all government employees with the phrases to victor the spoils. Merit bureaucracy. The purpose of merit bureaucracy is to choose the most qualified individuals to fill positions in the public sectors with the ability to evaluate their qualification based on predetermined criteria. In this particular document, the selection procedure is determined by the qualifications of the candidates and is governed by a competitive examinations. When we try to conclude this understanding, we say that throughout the course of history, it has been consistently noticed that administration of development predates the implementation of paperwork, which does not align with the requirements of modernization. Bureaucracy is characterized by its emphasis on the conservatism rather than exchange. The bureaucracy, when we say, is furthermore, the opponents have stated the bureaucratic forms of organization does not meet the requirements of the normal societies that are currently undergoing a process of transitions. This is the case from a cultural perspective as well as where there is a criticism that bureaucracy is urban oriented and elitist nature and that is irrelevant to the need of the rural areas which are where the majority of the people in the developing countries resides. In a nutshell, the contention is that forms are a problem due to the organization of things. It is not receptive to the wants and wishes of general public. Some of its horrible characteristics are excessive formalism, self-aggrandizement, empire building, and other such things. Bureaucratic impetude encompasses a wide range of administrative inefficiency, including but not limited to red tape, delay, buck passing, pigeon holding, hesitations, and other. So, in that way, when we go through all these aspects, we can say that when we talk about the bureaucracy that was known as the guardian bureaucracy is not been possible in the modern time because in the guardian bureaucracy it has been clearly said that those peoples who are the part of the bureaucracy they will try to give up all his interest for the development or for the upliftment of the country or their peoples. It is said that those who is a part of guardian bureaucracy they will not own its own property, that is the private property of the bureaucrats is not the part in the guardian bureaucracy because it is been believed that if a guardian bureaucrats will go for a private property then in that circumstances they will be involved in some types of misappropriation of the funds as well as their interest will shift from the overall development of the nation or the people rather than to its own. Another very important thing that is been associated with the guardian bureaucracy is that it is been required not to have its own family. That is marriage and other affairs is not associated with the guardian bureaucracy. So in that circumstances, it is been said that if a guardian bureaucracy have its own family, his wife and sons, then his own interest, its own love and affections will be not completely dedicated to the people of the nations, but it is more goes to the family for his own interest, for the interest of their children. In the same way, when we say the caste bureaucracy, in Indian system, what we find that the political leader of a political party that emphasizes the caste bureaucracy. For example, we say that in India we find if a prime minister or a chief minister is from a certain community, then that chief minister will try to have the bureaucratic setup, the administrative structure based on the personals from their community on the highest position in the structure. That is, the top position of an organization has to be under the hand of the same caste from where the chief minister belongs. So that means, in spite of having number of efficient intellectuals and capable bureaucrats of different castes, they are put under the subordinate positions of these peoples who are there in the form of a casteism. When this patronage bureaucracy, which is was commonly associated by the UK system, there it is also been found that the political efficiency is priority rather than efficiencies. So those political party used to come in power, their members who is associated with the political party used to occupy the higher positions. So there also the efficiency does not matter. It is only the affiliation of the political party is a very important concept. Same is that it was in United States of America, where the system of a spoil system is there. So Jefferson, Jackson, all these peoples, they were not having much interest in the system of having merit. They were more interested to create their own strong political setup at that time. So this spoil system was encouraged in the United States of America also. After the North Court Trevelyan Committee report, this system has been rejected in United Kingdom and in United States of America, where Pendleton Act helped in 1883 to abolish this spoil system that was very prevalent in United States of America. Then there is merit bureaucracy which is concerned. That is something which has started in the second BC itself in China, which was known as the Mandarin system. And the Mandarin system was the initial name that is been identified with the merit system. But after a very long period of time, it has not been accepted in most of the countries because of the dynasties which was there in the system of the functioning. Only after this Macaulay Committee recommendation in India and that North Court Trevelyan Committee report in the United States of America, the merit system has got its foot, and this has become prevalent in most of the country today in the world. They are having this merit system, and when this merit system, whatsoever the bureaucrats are, they are on the basis of their competitive examination, on the basis of their qualifications, on the basis of their merit, they become the part of the organization. Not only they are selected, but on the basis of the merit, they are being promoted the higher positions. Though this system is said to be the more efficient and capable of carrying out good administrative structure and overall development of the nation. Thank you very much.